Hi garden friends, welcome back to the Latina garden. Ellie here. Today we have a special episode of Gardening and Things with Keegan. We picked up some healthy starts from our local Home Depot earlier this morning. We got some Early Girl Sweet 100 tomatoes, some zucchini, Genovese basil, the Japanese cucumbers, and a Mammoth jalapeno, and we're planting them here in our warm Zone 9 garden. In this video, I'll walk you through how we prepare our soil, give you some Zone 9 tips for planting and spacing, and share when to harvest each one. Whether you're planting in raised beds, containers, or your backyard, you'll be ready to grow. He started with getting all the carrots out of the garden. I was surprised with how many we ended with, considering Nicco kept going into the garden bed and stepping all over, and I didn't think that we were going to get very many this year. He is using a ring hoe to get all of the weeds out of that garden bed. Gardening with the littles can be very messy, but it also can be quite fun. I love encouraging my kids to come and help us in the garden because I want them to continue their curiosity and I want them to grow this love for gardening. Next, Keegan likes to use a rototiller to help mix up the soil. The soil here gets pretty compacted as we grow veggies throughout the season, so he likes to kind of turn up the soil to help with the roots, to better establish and grow in deeper. He will also fertilize the soil at this point. In general, planting time for Zone 9 would be anywhere between mid-March through May. And it depends on what you are planting. If you are starting things from seeds, you can definitely start them earlier, even before your last frost state, and slowly transplant them or bring them outside. You want to wait until it is warmer weather and for most of the rainy season to have ended.
Right here we got Early Girl tomatoes, Sweet 100s, Genovese basil, Black Beauty zucchini. Right here is a Japanese cucumber, and I'm going to put some beans in this area later, maybe some squash in this area later, and Mammoth jalapeno right there where it was last year. The reason why I have this layout like this is because these tomatoes I found work pretty well together. I'll put a tomato cage around them and I'll split them. And the kids like to get the Sweet 100s, just eat them. The basil gets enough sun right here. You get a lot of reflection off the lights of the windows. But then the zucchini needs so much space to grow. I might put some eggplants at the back in the corner, but I have to start it really soon because if I don't, the zucchini will overtake all of it. Come on, Nicco. Nicco, come here. Where'd you put the shovel? The shovel. Go get it. Where is it? Where'd you put the shovel? No, that's the stick. The shovel. Nicco.
Let's start with Early Girl tomatoes. They are an intermediate hybrid. They take about 50 to 60 days for harvesting. For Zone 9, you can transplant them between March and April, even May. We like to wait until May because we also grow the garlic, so we want to wait for the garlic to be done. As far as where to plant, you want to make sure you plant them in full sun. They need at least 6 to 8 hours of sun. And as Keegan said earlier, you want to cage them early or stake them. And as far as watering, you can water about 2 to 3 times a week if you water deeply. You want to mulch because this will help for them to retain moisture. And you want to pick them when they are red and slightly soft to the touch. These are great for early yields before the high summer heat hits. My kids love the Sweet 100 cherry tomatoes. They are also an intermediate hybrid. It takes about 65 to 70 days till they are ready for harvesting. For planting, same as the early girl tomatoes, you want to transplant them between March or April. You can plant them all the way into May. For tips, you need to make sure that they have a strong, tall cage or trellis. These work great in a trellis or a cage. They do grow very tall and they produce a lot. You can pinch the suckers for better airflow. Fertilize monthly with tomato food, which is a low nitrogen. And you pick them when they're bright red, sweet, and glossy. Tomatoes can grow pretty wide, so you want to make sure you give them about 2 to 3 feet of space. My kids love picking these straight off the vine. They are, like I said earlier, very high producing. They are a little sweet, so they enjoy eating them all the time. I am not a big fan of tomatoes, but even I will eat these. Growing basil alongside your tomato plants offers several benefits, including pest control, increase in yield, and potentially enhancing the flavors. The basil type that we like to grow is the Genovese. The Genovese takes about 30 to 40 days to harvest. You want to plant them anytime from March through June. They love the heat, which is great for our really warm summers. You want to pinch off any flower buds to prolong the leaf production. You want to harvest about 1/3 of the plant every 1 to 2 weeks. And you can use it fresh or dry, or you can even freeze it. Best flavor before flowering. We eat this in salads. We'll throw it in salads. We'll put it in on top of our spaghetti or pastas. We really like eating it. The kids will sometimes come into the garden and just prick some of the leaves off and just eat it straight. So it is a very nice flavor, very like traditional basil type of flavoring, which we really enjoy. And basil only needs about 10 to 12 inches of space. Another companion plant for the tomato would be the zucchini. The zucchini, it has very similar growing pattern as a tomato. It also blooms, which can attract pollinators that would benefit both plants. It takes about 45 to 60 days to harvest zucchini. You do want to be very careful with zucchini as far as paying attention to how quickly they're growing. Once you start seeing the actual zucchini vegetable, it can get away from you in one day. It can grow significantly, like a lot, to the point that sometimes we have missed 1 or 2 in the garden, and by the time we see it, it is like a foot or more long, which at that point we don't really eat it. We kind of just we can use it for seed or use it for other things. But you want to pick them when they're about 6 to 8 inches long for the best, flavoring and tenderness. You want to harvest early to encourage more production. And like the tomato, they need about 2 to 3 feet of space. You can transplant between March through May. They need space and air circulation to avoid mildew. So like we said, the leaves grow super big. It does take a lot of space in your garden. You can have it on a trellis. I've heard of people doing that. We haven't done a trellis yet, but they've done that in order to save some space in their garden. Water at soil level to prevent leaf disease. And it attracts bees for pollination, and you can also hand pollinate. The Mammoth jalapeno, you can harvest. It takes about 70 to 80 days. For our warm climate, you want to transplant anywhere between March through May. It needs warm and full sun. You want to keep the soil slightly moist, not soggy. You want to fertilize with a low nitrogen food after it starts to flower. And as far as harvesting, you pick them when they're green, around about 4 inches long for traditional jalapeno. Let them ripen to a red for an extra sweetness and heat. They also need about 12 to 18 inches of space. This is the second time we're growing these jalapenos. Last year was the first time I grew them. I did try to winter them over, but it didn't really work for my climate.
Careful.
I just noticed this as I'm watching this video, but if you start looking in the back garden towards where the aloe vera is, you see a hummingbird over there, which is so cool and neat. I have been seeing them a little bit more frequently in the garden as my flowers are starting to bloom, which is so exciting because I want to have like a ton of hummingbirds, a ton of butterflies in my garden. That is my goal. This year we decided to grow the Japanese cucumber. Usually we get the Boston pickling cucumber, and that is because my husband and I like to eat pickles, but the kids don't ever really eat it. Lately we've been going to Costco and getting the English cucumbers, which the kids really like and enjoy. So we wanted to try something different this year, and the Japanese cucumber is similar, so we are trying to do those this time. They are a climbing, vining cucumber, which have thin skin. They're burpless. It takes about 55 to 60 days to harvest. You can transplant them or start them from seed between April through May. They do need a trellis for straight fruit, so we will be trellising these. You want to water consistently to prevent bitterness. And you want to feed monthly with compost or a balanced fertilizer. You want to harvest them when they're about 6 to 8 inches for the best flavor. And you want to check daily once production starts. You don't have to cage your veggies. We do because of the kids. We share the backyard with them, so they like to play with soccer balls and other toys and things like that. So we like to cage them. So Keegan right now is putting up some stakes up to be able to build like a fence around the veggie garden. For the kids. Also, we have a 2-year-old Nicco who also likes to climb into the garden and dig things up and play in the dirt. So this also helps to keep him out of the veggie garden a little bit. He still gets in there, but it does help a little. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, sow love, grow joy, and stay rooted. Bye.